Hi, everybody. My name is Senka Caro. This is Adam Kupel. We're here from Starseed Academy and LightNet. And we've got a very special guest tonight, Shekina Rose. She is one very powerful divine feminine here in Sedona. And let me bring you up for a second. Shekina, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Hello, Zinka and Adam. It's so good to see you. And thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm really excited.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're going to be learning about the music of the spheres. We're going to talk about her near-death experience. We're going to talk about her frequency jewelry and Blue Ray Starseeds and the Rose Ray. So she's a wealth of knowledge and she is a powerful space holder and frequency holder here in Sedona. And her voice actually hits incredibly harmonic tones. And remember, harmonics is where it hits into that fractal jumping that it does. And that's when you have those experiences. When your mind goes in that's where you can see with blindfolds on the children. So it's a very unusual thing that she's mastered. And we're going to hear her sing tonight. We're going to hear her explain what that means exactly and how it works. But before we do that, we've got such an incredible weekend planned this weekend. So I wanted to bring Susan on. And if you want to unmute yourself, Susan. So Susan is looking like a rock star. You know, she gave gifts out to the Oscar nominees this year, and they are using her services to clear things. We have Susan join us every month. Last time we did talking to past loved ones. The other one was talking to your galactic guides. This month it's going to be the star children and what's coming through. But once a year, she does the mega clearing. This is the mega clearing because when you have things in the way of your awesome summer, there are things in the way of your awesome summer. And Susan, tell us what this means. What is Dump Your Junk? It's tomorrow morning or Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, so it's so fun. So if it's not fun, we have to fix it. But yeah, so it's not a thing until you make it a thing. So we've made a lot of things, and then we've carried it through other lifetimes, and parents have passed down their things to us, and we've been holding on to their things. So it's where we've had any kind of emotional trauma. So trauma is on a scale from dead to God's consciousness. But just above death is anger, rage, fury, hate, blame, shame, regret, and guilt. So how many of those just resonated with you? How many of those just triggered a time in your life when you were angry, you were enraged, did have some fury, you maybe hated a couple people, or you were on the other spectrum of that with having guilt, regret. And so those feelings are just like Dr. Emoto's work, where thoughts create things, and your thoughts will affect molecular with water, the molecules of water. So as you are leveling up your frequency and the words and the thoughts that you have, those lower ones may still be in your field. And what happens is, as you continue to have them, they affect the molecules of water in your body, and they change the structure of your cell. And our bodies are biological, and they're designed to reproduce. So like we'll slough off dead skin cells, and then we'll replace them with new ones. Well, our entire body does that all day long. So we're creating new liver cells, new lung cells, new heart cells, new, stomach cells, all kind of body part cells. But when it's irregular, like say this shape versus the beautiful one that was the water one, our body starts duplicating the irregular cells. And then those irregular cells turn into a diagnosis. And then that diagnosis turns into a terminal illness. So it's in all of our best interests to go in and get rid of all of it. So we're backing the BFI trucks up. We're getting the big dumpsters up here, and we are just going to shed, shred, eliminate, delete, get rid of anything and everything that is preventing us from vibrating at the highest frequency possible. So I highly recommend it for you, for your friends, for your family, for anyone that you have that has a possibility of just being able to let go of anything that's no longer serving them. So we're going
yeah, that's amazing, Susan. And like you can see, everyone, she is fun and she makes it easy. And you just be surprised on Sunday morning when you wake up, because you start to realize that you have shed things that were blocking all the good stuff from manifesting into your life. You're amazing. You are such a wizard. I mean, it's just unexplainable, your work, and we're so lucky to be working with you. And you guys, I'm just going to share my screen for a second. If you go to starseedacademy.org and hit on this calendar button, you can see this. It's $44. Dump your junk right here. We also have Waken Your Dragon this weekend. And we also have a free connection call this weekend as well. So it's 3 big, super cool events. We'll talk a little bit more about it at the end, but this, you don't want to miss Dump Your Junk, because we only do it once a year. And Susan is going to really, really take it to the next level for you guys.
Yeah. And can I, it's mostly ladies here. Thanks for welcoming me. But Susan's work is really, it's not gender specific in any way. So if there's a brother, a father, a son, or just a friend that could benefit from really getting the chance to let things go, I encourage you to share it with the men in your life, because Susan's work transcends all of that. And I found it very beneficial myself.
Yeah, and Father's Day is coming up on Sunday. So this is a great way to get ready for that. She will cut cords, delete contracts, remove, delete. You will take a bow and you will start something new. It's very miraculous. So thank you, Susan.
I am so blessed. Thank you for having me. It is truly my honor to be in service to support your community and everyone here.
Yay, she's back on her feet.
She is.
Wow.
She took a little trip to the emergency vet. Yeah. She's a lot better now.
Wow. So beautiful. I always thought if we had cats, if only a few people had cats, everyone would be like, you have a little lion. And it would just be the talk of everything. I mean, no one would believe that you have a miniature lion. And that's really what we have, that feline energy, that Lyran energy. So cool. Cool. I'm glad she's better and back on camera.
Oh, she's all over it. She's been all over it. Yep. Trying to take pictures. She'll just get right in front and sit right here. Like, yep, not having it.
Very cool. Well, welcome to all of our members. Thank you for being here. Thank you to our broadcast partners, Portal to Ascension, New Realities, and Shekina. Okay, so one of the things that I want to start out with is this NDE that catapulted you into these sacred sounds that you make, and it's almost like you're an angelic reminder to people of this, like, even if our heads can't understand it, something about music is really unlocking and activating. Tell us more about this.
So I had a near-death experience. It was around 2006. And I got ill, and what happened was I was going to go to the light. I had food poisoning at the time and some other complications. So I was by myself, and I went to the light, and I was at the light for quite some time. And I really don't know how long, because I was by myself. And I know that it was hours and hours that I was in my room and on my bed and not, feeling well. And when I was in the light, I was communing. It was we were just telepathing, and I was experiencing the light, and a lot of things happened in the light. And I checked into my family. I got to a point, I mean, being in the light so much that I was experiencing so much of this resonance, this experience of home, that I was going to leave. I was getting ready to step into the light because I had did all the things. I was able to talk a lot. I was able to commune a lot with the divine. I had plenty of time. I checked in with my family. I checked in with the people that to make sure that they would be okay if I left. And you can do that there, and you can do it in a really fast way, but you can also do it in a kind of a holistic way, like 360, like all at once. And I realized that everything would be fine. Like everybody on the earth would be fine. So I was going to take my step. And there were things that happened there was more that happened that happened while I was in light. But I was ready to take my step. And I was at the line of the light. And I knew that if I had a body here, I had a body up there, and I had a body down there, because I would go back and forth at times. But I had a body up here in the light, and I was ready. I picked up my leg because I was ready. I was going to cross over into the light. And as soon as I did, I picked up my leg. Something happened to me that was unexpected, that was happening while I was in this light. See, while I was in this light, I was experiencing this frequency, this vibration, this music. You can say the music of the spheres. You can call it the music of creation. Well, when I was communing with the light, it just started happening. I was just experiencing this holy resonancy, this holy frequency. So I'm going to take my step, and something like from my soul, it was from my soul, just came over me, like from the core of my being, from my heart. And I just said, I feel like I said it out loud, actually. I said, I want to sing in the language of light. Not knowing what that was, what that meant. However, because I had a reason to come back on this planet, I came back really quick. I mean, you just plummet back into your body. A lot of people say that you just, bam, from like a very far distance, plummet back into your body. Now, I wasn't fully conscious because I was having, problems. I wasn't fully able to just be conscious and aware. Some other kind of miraculous things happened to me. Someone came back and helped me and saw me there and started helping me to try to get me to come back, into the body, because I couldn't even speak because I was extremely dehydrated, and I had been out for so long that I couldn't speak for a while until I got more, into my body. But once that happened, I shifted. I kind of was almost a different person when I came back. Now, I didn't sing before, ever. I didn't ever consider it in my life. And I mean, not even I wouldn't go to karaoke. I wouldn't do any of those things. I did not sing. So I did. Now, there was integration time, after you come back from the light, and it's different for everyone, but it wasn't easy to come back. It took me many months before I could even leave the house. I was extremely, I mean, I was on the path I thought before, but after this, everything had changed. All my spirituality, everything that I had connected with before, I became super, ultra, so sensitive that I could barely, it was like I could barely leave. And I also went through a purging process. I was purging, Susan, right, was talking about the clearing and the dumping, which is, it's phenomenal. And it's really important right now to do because there's a lot happening, right? There's a lot that's coming up right now. The light is barreling in at us right now. We're in like an accelerated of ascension right now. And but that kind of like happened to me like all at once. And I was just purging like day and night of all of those things. All of those things just started coming up. And however, eventually, and my name changed. I couldn't even relate to who I was before. I mean, I could a bit because I still had this body, but I could not even be the same name. It was not me. And I did kind of seek help. I had to seek help. I had to go to a near-death experience group, which at the time I was living in Florida, West Palm Beach, Florida, and at Pompano, they had this fantastic near-death experience group with doctors and researchers, and it was huge. So it was really good. So I had to go because I just couldn't manage on my own because it was so dramatic and it was so drastic. And then I became I began to sing. I did. And I also I became Shekina because Shekina had come to me. Shekina had come to me and talked to me and told me about the goddess and about the goddess that I was connecting with. And we communed a lot, Shekina and I. And it was almost like that Shekina named me. And at the time, I didn't feel that I could hold the vibration of Shekina. So I chose Shekina. But Shekina, it comes from Shekina. You know, that sacred divine Holy Spirit. And later, and I knew I had another name. I knew I had another name. However, it didn't come to me. And because I had to go through a process. I had to go through a clearing and purging process. And right now in the moment, you know, every time that I go back in, I get more information. And now I'm getting that it was kind of like the old being. I had to clear this out from the old being. All of those things you could imagine. Almost like a whole lineage I was clearing out. Everything you could imagine that's not the highest and greatest good. Everything that Suzanne was talking about, I was just purging it. After a certain amount of time that I had purged and cleared and worked nonstop, then the name came. And it just came in. It was like Rose. And it just like imprinted in me. And I went, absolutely. So that's how that happened. And then I did get studied by a physicist. You know, at one point, science did come and study my vocals, which was surprising.
Yeah, I just posted in our backroom members chat, and I'll post it out to you guys listening on YouTube, the 6 solfeggio frequencies. And as you noted, these are the notes of creation. When sound and light come together, that's in geometries, right? Tell us about what the scientists said. And also feel free to sing if you want, but explain a little bit more about the solfeggio frequencies and how that works exactly.
So I eventually did start singing, and especially at that time, I was bringing in tones and frequencies, like very long tones and frequencies. And so it happened, synchronicity happened. I was invited to do an event in California. They wanted me to bring these tones, these frequencies in this particular event, and that's when they recorded me, and then I put this out, and then science just found me. There was a physicist that knocked on my door, and he was in the process of doing studies. Okay, he was studying different vocals. I have to tell you, he was kind of discrediting certain people, because he was trying to find the right tone and the right frequency. There's all these chants different people do and different things, and he was trying to say that this one was better than the other one, and he had machinery and scientific equipment to verify and analyze the music and the vocals. And so he was doing this, and I was a part of that. So basically, I had just gotten back from the light, and it was dramatic. And so I knew what I was doing. I mean, this was my sole purpose on the planet. So when I kind of knew what he was doing, I said, fine, go ahead. I mean, I know what I'm doing. I'm doing the language of light. It really doesn't matter. However, he came back to me with this long analysis of this one time that I sang. And I could tell he was a little surprised. And so he proceeded to tell me, he said, you sing, and this one thing that I sung, it was just one video that I sang it. He's like, you sing in the 6 pure tonal notes of creation, the ancient Solfeggio scale. I said, okay, because I didn't know what that was back then. I said, okay. And he gave me a long analysis. So I sang in every single one of them in that particular broadcast. He said, I also sang in the mathematical equation of creation, which I couldn't even figure out how that was possible. However, now I understand. So it's more popular now. Marco Rodin, who does vortex math, he's a brilliant scientist. Back then, he had come up apparently with the mathematical equation of creation and able to analyze it through the vibrations and the frequency and the sound. And there was a whole bunch more that was in my vocals. And I said to him, I said, is that good that I'm singing in this? And he said, I said, what is it? And he said, yeah, it's good. He said, all he said to me, he said, go online. Okay. He gave me some information. Go to this place and look it up. Find out what this is. All he said was, well, just keep doing what you're doing. But I've come to know about the ancient Solfeggio scale and what it is. And so we had a different musical scale than we had today. And this musical scale, that's why we had Mozart's music was to that scale, because that's why even today, that music, it does something to you. It's incredible. So also back then, before the 1600s, they sang the Mass in Latin in the church. And the Mass was sung in Latin because it was sang in the ancient Solfeggio scale. And I mean, what this does is, this is like brings you to your God essence. This brings you to higher consciousness. This is actually DNA repair. This can actually bring miracles. This can like shift things in your life. This can just change it. Like it can actually change negativity to positive energy. Now, what happened, and there's a reason why that is, because everything is energy vibration, and energy and vibration is recorded, it gets to a molecular level, the molecules. Energy and vibration affects our molecules. And in our molecules, there's like 70 receptors in our molecules. And so this frequency and vibration can vibrate our molecules. And these molecules, this vibration can go through the molecules, and then the molecules can open up to the chromosomes and then go straight into the DNA. Our defined original blueprint. So that's pretty incredible. So what happened, however, was that the ancient Solfeggio scale, that sacred musical scale that we used to sing in, and John the Baptist, that was sung in that musical scale, was, they say it was lost. In the 1600s, it was lost. Now, there's information that the church and a pope changed the musical scale around the 1600s because there was political unrest and spiritual unrest and things going on. However, so what happened, thank goddess, was in the 1970s, a doctor named Joseph Polio was doing research. He was a researcher and a doctor, a PhD, and he rediscovered the ancient Solfeggio scale. And then, but when he crossed over, Dr. Leonard Horowitz took over his research and really brought it back into our lives. You may have heard of him. He wrote a book called The Healing Codes. And now, because of him, because of this rediscovery, and I don't think it's perchance that happened. I believe that this was supposed to happen, that we were supposed to have these frequencies again. And here I am, how in the world, if I have never sung in my life, I don't know anything about music, even to this day. I really don't know. I can't tell you what a key is. I can't tell you that this is a key. I just don't know. How is it possible that I can sing in this whole ancient Solfeggio scale? And I'm grateful now that the scientist came knocking on my door to try to discredit me, because he showed me something, and it kind of blessed me. That blessed me. I'm like, here's science, unbeknownst himself, blessing me and saying, okay, you're singing in this, because that's a little helpful with what I'm bringing, forth, because there isn't, language and words. Now, even the Gregorian chants weren't really words, but they were these tones, and there was these notes and the oscillating back and forth, and that does something to you. It's a sacred vibration. And the thing is also about what I do is it's a universal language. So it's not for English people or it's a universal language, because when you're up there, that language was universal. The music of the spheres of creation is for everyone, and everyone can understand it and experience it, no matter who you are, what you are, where you come from, what language that you speak, what religion that you follow or don't follow, because it's this frequency vibration that unites us all.
Yeah, and that's absolutely amazing. So cool. We got a in the chat here in one of the YouTubes the Arabic and Hebrew languages actually have some of those tones in them, which is designed to be sacred.
Right. So I wanted to move into a different area, if that's okay.
Unless you wanted to
Unless
sing.
you wanted to sing. Do you want to sing?
Let's see what comes.
Okay.
We'll go back to you, Adam. Wow, my hair is
My
standing
goodness.
on end.
Yeah.
It was almost like I was transported to Italy and you were in this cathedral where your voice was, the sound wasn't good with the Zoom, but it was just like the sound was like full. It like extended beyond the cathedral, you know, the earth, like it had like a universal.
Oh, it truly reaches into the divine.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whew.
Amazing.
I'm like,
I have to say that today is the 13th. And on the 13th of every month, the Sisters of the Sacred Rose, and many of us that honor the sacred divine feminine, we honor the goddess and we connect in the rosary on this day of the 13th of every single month. And so whatever comes forth, because I've never sung that song, I don't know that melody, I will never sing it again, I can't. But whatever comes in has the energy and vibration of a message, of a frequency, of a tone. And that one was this sacred divine feminine energy. And because that's what I feel because of this day.
what do you do on this day? Can you tell people more clearly? And does the 13 have a significance? And you said you do honor, what do you do exactly?
Well, I usually say the rosary prayer, and you can light a candle. You just tune into that vibration and you just do something. If you can't be with your sisters or another in that way, you can just, light a candle. You can get some roses. You can get like one rose. You can get, the rose for yourself. You can put something on your altar, a meditation, and connecting with your sacred divine feminine and honoring the sacred divine feminine as well. Some people, honor different deities at different times, like Kuan Yin, or Mother Mary, or Mary Magdalene, or Mother Earth Gaia. Mother Earth Gaia, just, herself. Sometimes we go out and just, give roses and blessings, to the earth. Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. I do want to mention that Adam wanted to do the next question, so I'm going to let him come back. But while we're doing that, so Raquel Spring and Altair are doing a workshop this weekend about Black Moon Lilith, which is the wounded feminine. It's the thing that needs to be kind of acknowledged as we move toward the divine feminine. And it's a way for they say that Altair and Raquel say, but to find your purpose, you have to let go of your anger and rage, or you have to listen to it. You have to tune into it and say, like, where is my rage? Where is my anger? And in that listening and acknowledgement and honoring, you get to a much more relaxed feminine, right? Because the feminine has been heard, and it's been, that has been, spoken and dealt with, and we move on from it to these greater masculine, feminine, divine feminine, divine masculine. But there's that final little piece of healing that is coming through. So anyway, they're doing that this weekend. It's called Awaken the Dragon, because they say once you clear that first part of that anger, you become free, because you're not angry anymore. You're free. And in that, your inner dragon comes out. That's your curiosity. And then they say that leads to your future self. So they're going to be walking us through that process. And they Awaken the Dragon this weekend. But you were about to ask her a question, so I wanted to fill the airtime while you're doing that.
That's good. Yeah, so I wanted to ask you about the Blue Starseed, and kind of like what's going on with them. They're incredible souls that are here for the ascension process and for this great awakening, and I was just really curious about why their mission is so important, what they really need from us, and what we can do for them.
So the blue rays are, like you said, they are ultra-sensitive empath star seeds, and they are a soul group like the indigos, and they came from the many ascended planets and light realms to enlighten the genetic code of humanity and raise a God consciousness on this planet. They are they're such peacemakers. They're so in that energy of the blue, and a lot of times they are and what's good was that we came in like a wave. So we didn't come just a few of us. We started coming, and a lot of us come in waves, like the rays of creation and the star seeds. The angelics will come in a whole group. So we came in a group from, we've been coming, the blue rays, the indigos, the crystals, the rainbows for the last 100 years. However, the blue rays came in a concentrated wave from like the 1965 to like almost up to like 1980, because they needed to come like as a collective group so that they could have that resonancy frequency on the planet. Now, the blue rays a lot of times as well will be born into dysfunctional families, kind of intense genetic damage, because they're natural transformers and peacemakers. And so that's one of their first missions, is to be in that family and to transform and to transcend that energy, like what you're doing, going through like the healing process through themselves and working through those genetics, so that line, so that there can be a line, so there can be a divine line healing through that particular lineage. So a lot of times that's what their first mission is. And then once they're finished with that, like you were speaking about, once you're done with, once you can get through that healing, that deep healing of whatever that it is, anger or rage or whatever that it is, limitation, then things open up for you. And so it's the same thing with the blue rays. And a lot of times the blue rays will kind of like shift from their family dynamics, and then they're able to, do more of their mission. So they are designed to be ultra sensitive, empathic. That's like their first mission in general. So part of their mission is that they need to be true to themselves. And that's not always easy to do. because sometimes they feel so much, and they're continuously like feeling and censoring the world around them. And so sometimes they may stifle themselves. They may like shut themselves down, because sometimes they can feel so deeply too, but they're designed to feel so deeply. So sometimes they need to get past and heal. Sometimes they may have addictions or different things like that, all kinds of different things, whatever have you, to kind of shut that down, to kind of shut that, that empathic resonancy, to not to feel so much. However, but it's their gift. It is their divine gift to be that way. And it is their divine mission to be that way, because what they're doing as well, as they're becoming this altar, as they're allowing themselves to be attuned to being an ultra sensitive, empathic, and sensing and connecting into that world, the world this way, they are restoring the ley lines of the empathic, sensitive ways and connections with nature, with Mother Earth Gaia, with humanity, with relationships, with the cosmos. I mean, it's reestablishing those connections by being true to themselves and not shutting it down, because the Blue Rays are here. You're a Blue Ray and you honor the sacred divine feminine. That is also your mission. You do it through the sacred divine feminine. There was a need and there was a call for that particular energy of that specific healing of the Divine Mother, of the healing of our divine original blueprint, for us to continue on with our ascension and to clean some things up in our family lineage. And so that's what the Blue Rays are here, and that's what they're doing on this planet.
Well, thank you so
Thank
much, because when you talk about your NDE and the experiences you've had and how strong it was for you to actually start to like, wow, this happening, I have a new name. Like, I mean, you were so courageous. And like you talked about, it's like, oh, well, I'm supposed to bring this thing, but thanks for following through. And thanks for having the courage to be like, wow, this doesn't make a lot of sense to the status quo, but I have to do it anyway. And now people are catching up and people are really seeing that. But I just want to honor you for being this like honest. I mean, your honesty and your just like, this is how it is also very encouraging to other people who are looking for the how. And I don't think you have a how. You just go, this is how it is, and you're doing your stuff. And I'm going to share your website right now. If you go to shekinarose.com, she's got a tab up here that says Blue Ray and the Blue Ray Transmissions blog. So this is where you can go and read more about this. It's super fascinating. I was told I was part of a platinum ray too, that I was supposed to beam healings to large cities and things like that, which I do occasionally. But this is just so fascinating. The other thing I wanted to ask you about is this frequency harmony or pendants that you have up here. Because as you said, you didn't really know about the math or the science. You're like, well, I'm just singing. I couldn't sing. Now I can sing. I don't know what pitch it's going on. And this guy's like, oh, just keep doing it. But talk about your frequency, your jewelry, and how that works exactly.
So I've had I've had a few different, I've had a couple of near-death experiences. And what happened is, as I would have these near-death experiences, and that's all for me. The next one is I'm actually leaving. As I was having them, sometimes every time that I would have them, I would shift in the music of the spheres every single time. Because in the first time I said I wanted to sing in the language of light, I was doing way more tones. And then my last two near-death experiences, when I came back, they said, sing. So, and because I can sign in the language of light, I can tone in the language of light. I could speak in the language of light, but they wanted me to concentrate on singing it. So that's happened after my latest two. But it also put me in this state. It put me in a different kind of state that I was like more interdimensional, like I had more connection to the realms for quite some time, which was also not always easy, having continuous visits from extraterrestrial, interdimensional beings and ascended masters all the time. But it was here in Sedona. I had this experience. I was on the mountain at Cathedral Rock Vortex. I was at a private area at Cathedral Rock, and I was high on the mountain, and I was with another person, and no one came around here because this was a private area. There's many private areas around Cathedral Rock, down Verde Valley Road. And I was with another person, and here this person says to me, look, there's a ship there. Look what's going on in the sky. And on that particular day, it was completely a clear blue sky. There were no clouds in sight. And also, this is a place where you're on a side more residential. Planes don't come over here, okay, over here. So we were looking at this ship, and this ship starts, it was very odd, and it started coming closer to us. I got frightened because we're high in the mountain. It was getting too close, and it was odd. It wasn't just going really fast. It was like wavering, like wobbling, kind of slower than like an airplane or something, and coming straight towards us. I was a little frightened. I hid. I decided, well, my friend's out there. I'm going to go look at this. I'm going to look at the ship. So the ship did. It got closer. It was a silver cigar shaped ship. It got closer and closer, and it was so odd. It was like hovering. It was like hovering. And we stared at it, and all of a sudden, we're just staring at this silver cigar ship, and it just vanishes into thin air. Now, I realized it went into the other dimensions. Now, being in Sedona and being on this land as much as I have, I've seen ships, and I've seen them come and go and just go out of the dimension, especially here in Boynton Canyon. So as soon as the ship vanished, this hawk comes barreling up the mountain and flies right over my head, like so close that I could feel it. And I got the goddess bumps just talking about it. And I heard a voice, and it said, "Pay attention." And so I did. So what happened was, I tuned in, and I took all my focus and all my attention, and I really connected, and I tuned into that ship. And I wanted to know what that ship was about. Who were these beings on the ship? Who were they? So I did. I just focused all my attention, and I zoomed into that ship, connected telepathically. And I asked, "Who are you?" And I got an immediate response. It was loud and clear. And they said, "We're here for peace." I was a little taken aback, but something happened. Like there was a connection, because they were reaching out to me, but I made the connection. And once that happened, once we connected, then something started happening to me. And what started happening to me is I was getting these blueprints, these sacred blueprints that were coming one after the next, after the next, after the next, after the next. And they're like in my mind's eye, and they just keep coming. And they are blueprints that I can't even fathom. These are blueprints of whole crystal cities to create. These are blueprints. I mean, I can't keep up with it, but it was just blueprints that were of the highest order for humanity. It was blueprints that would eliminate all things that you could imagine. Anything that we needed, there was a sacred technology that was coming in that would empower humanity. So this was happening to me, and it was also intense as it was coming in one after the next, continuously. The energy was building within me, and I didn't know what to do. And there was a point where I thought, can I stop this? Because I can't do this anyway. But then I had another thought. It was like a higher thought. And this higher thought was, maybe this is a way for these sacred blueprints to get here on the planet. And without notifying, organizations or institutions or corporations or governments, maybe it's a way. And perhaps, of course, I don't have to do it. Maybe it's for other people to do when they're ready, their mission and their purpose, but at least it's on the planet. So what also happened is I just was guided to start making technologies. So I got copper, I got crystals, I got different things, and I started creating. And when I did, it started to feel a little better. And the more that I created, the better that I got. And eventually it got to a point where it slowed down. Now it was many, many weeks for this, but I had to create, and I was creating like in a frenzy in the beginning. I was creating like 3 technologies all at once. I had no idea. I would just create them and allow them to flow. I needed the energy to get out. But what happened was, we were communicating. I was communicating with what I feel are, because there was a woman, a Pleiadian woman that showed up in my place. She literally materialized, and we started this connection and this communication, and they and I saw their ship again. I would see their ship after that. There it was. I would see it. And a lot of times before I would see the ship, I would see doves. Doves would come. When the doves would come, I would see the doves and like, okay, they're around me. They're there. And then I would see the ship. So we were in communication, and they started working with me. And so I started making sacred technologies. And the first one, the official one that I made was the star resonator. And it's up on my site. Now you can if you go to my store, you'll see what I have now, what I do now. If you go up to the store.
I was just looking at okay, so
yeah, just go to the store.
Oh, right, store.
Yes.
That wasn't obvious to me because I was trying to get on this, and I was just looking at your pictures too, where you have these on, which is really cool. I saw you wearing some of these. Okay, here they are in the store.
So
okay,
these
are really
so
cool.
keep going up. So these have evolved. So the first, if you keep scrolling up, you'll see what what is evolved.
Oh, I see. Oh,
so the first one was the star resonator, and that was to help the star seeds to connect to their origins and the rays of creation. Basically, they just opened the realm and said, make this. So I made a couple of technologies, and I started to, it's like I knew how to do this. I knew how to make these sacred technologies. And so they started to evolve. I made the star resonator first. I made the universal frequency harmonizer. Then I made, the last one that I made are the radiant codes. So all of these pretties that you see here, the Ascended Masters came to me and they showed me, we had a relationship, and they actually showed up in my my room and gave me a communion. And they showed me the Swarovski crystals. I didn't know about the Swarovski crystals. And they said that they have a certain kind of light spectrum that would be good for me in my work. So everything that you see, I've been able to create everything, all the pretties that you see, these Swarovski crystals, they are a sacred technology. They all have the radiant codes in them. They have the creational code of the harmonic frequency of heaven in them. And so what they do is they hold your sacred divine blueprint, because 2020, it was time for me to make another technology. And I had about 5 technologies going at the time. And I decided to say, okay, I'm going to let spirit tell me which one I'm supposed to bring in. And they said, you bring in the radiant codes, because the divine original blueprint is being tampered with. And these are the codes that are going to hold the sacred divine blueprint. They're called the radiant codes. So it took quite some time. I mean, it took quite some time to bring this in. I connected through the sun, and I had to get through the dimension, and I had to be able to bring this through here on the planet. So now each one of these pendants that you see are the radiant codes, but they have a specific energy as well. I get the liberties now to take the radiant codes and put them into things that I also am connected to. So like the angels. So like what I have on right now is the seraphim wings of light. And so this helps you with channeling as well, connecting to the angels. And some people, when they wear this, they have like a download like immediately, or they are able to connect with the angels. And also in the sacred technology, because they're frequency jewelry, I know that they look pretty, but they are actual devices. And a lot of people use them for healing, for activation, and their practices as well are just wearing them to feel better and to feel connected, because they continue to work with you. They will uniquely and individually work specifically with you. And also is in every single one of these pieces is a Sedona white light singing crystal, because the Sedona white light singing crystals came to me about 4 years ago. And that's a whole amazing experience. They showed me who they were. They started to materialize. And they wanted to be actually these crystals that are in Sedona. I know you don't see crystals in Sedona, but they exist. And they told me that they wanted to be a part of the sacred technologies. So they are in even this one, they're in every single one. The Sedona singing white light crystals. The story of all of this, the singing white light crystals and all of these experiences, actually, I just wrote a chapter in a book. There's a book coming out called The Beans Book. The Near Death Institute has produced these different books on near-death experiences, and I'm going to be in one of their chapters that talks all about what happened.
Wow, that's so cool. Adam has a question, but I just wanted to say that, with Lynn McTaggart and, Joe Dispenza and all these people who are doing these miracle hearings, there's all this whispers in the background that there's actually blue beings that show up to kind of do the healings. Mm-hmm. And in a way, I was like, when you work with a healer like Susan this weekend, or like you, or like Adam and I, we've actually been doing healings. It's almost like you're bringing in the crew that they ride with. And so it's almost like your jewelry is saying like, okay, bless this person, watch over this person, connect this person, and there's this whole other, thing, because I mean, that's just my theory recently, because I heard that in Lynn McTaggart and Joe Dispenza, they're seeing all these blue beings. And I'm like, well, who are they? How does it work? And people like you who have spent the time to develop relationships with Shekina, Shekina, right? Shekina. You know what I mean? It's those years, it's those times, it's those relationships that you bring to the table when you sing, when you work, when you right? What do you think?
You're absolutely right. Totally in tuned. Of course, absolutely. I have worked in developing these relationships. As soon as I'm like done, if I'm done with like one that goes on the planet, like this particular the Seraphim Wings of Light that I have on, when I'm like finished with it, and I literally create the whole entire design. So this whole entire design, I created it. And when I'm finished with it, right, it's almost sometimes I put and I put all the stones in, I do everything, right? I put the last stone in, and as soon as I put the stone in, the energy just comes barreling down from the earth, just powerfully. And so I'll hold it because they know, because I'm working with them. They know, okay, you just brought this creation here. Fantastic, we're with you. So I'll take it and I'll bring in the frequency. I'll bring in that song and that tone and that frequency. And also every single piece that goes, whoever it goes to, I do all the mailing myself. So I will look at that person, I will attune it and sing it right before it goes out. Right before it goes out, every single one gets attuned. There's not been one ever that has not been attuned to that particular person.
Wow, that's so cool. You know, Adrian from Disclosure Fest, he does those crystal t-shirts and he does it too. Like they pray on the shirts before they get shipped out. So Adam has a question. If you are a member of Starseed Academy, which you can do by going to /join Starseed Academy, you will get in the backstage area with our other members who are here tonight. And this last half an hour is dedicated to you guys to answer your questions. So if you have a question, you can raise your hand and we'll call on you. And Adam's got this question coming up.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of kick it off. So in the beginning of your talk, you left, you came back, and then one of the things you said is every time I go back. And I wondered if you could talk about what your process was for doing that.
You mean every time I have a near-death experience, I go back to the light?
I don't know. You just said every time I go back.
I go back, yes.
Know what you meant.
That's what I mean. I know other near-death experiencers, and actually I started a group here, a near-death experience group. It's actually me and another individual, and she's a heaven's ambassador. So she goes to heaven. When she leaves, she goes to heaven. I never went to heaven. Now, because I've been in group with her and because we pray together and because we do attunements, I've been able to connect to heaven, which was nice. We all go to different places. It's just depending on who you are, where you're from, where your soul's evolution is at the time. I mean, when I was in the light, I saw heaven. There were 7 heavens. Apparently there's more, but I could see them. They were over here. If I looked over to my right, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Heavens are over here. We got creation over here. I always go to the light. And I don't go through a tunnel. I just go there. And there I am in the light. Every time. So that's what I say when I go back, is because it's like you're going back home. So when I go back home to the light, that's where I go every time, is to the light.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Very cool. Susan, if you could unmute, I'll bring you in. Welcome, Susan.
Hello. Well, I'm so grateful to be here. As soon as I saw Music of the Spheres, I jumped on this one. I had to be here. I've been blessed. I had a near-death experience at 2, and I actually crossed over. I was in a coma. The body was in a coma for 2 weeks on life support after a vaccine. But I didn't know about that until 2013, what had happened there. I just remember getting this needle, and then I won't get into the long part of it, but I do remember crossing over. And what you were saying is exactly the music. It was phenomenal, the sound and the music and the tones. So I'm just so moved by this. And later in my life, I met my spiritual guide, who was a musician as well. And he taught the music of the spheres to the singers called the Starscape Singers. And I was blessed to be their videographer during the 1980s in these rehearsals as they were doing them. And I was working on the productions when they were performing as well in the back room. And so there were a lot of many experiences of that. And then I had fourth stage colon cancer, and I had 2 weeks. They told me I'd had 2 weeks to live in 1997.
Mm.
And so after I was at the hospital having a session, and the doctor was wanting to take me in immediately to have my entire colon ripped out.
Mm.
So as he went off to book the surgery, he said, "You'll be dead in 2 weeks if I don't do this." And so I started praying. And I asked, "Dear God," I said, "I do not want anything ripped out of this body. Please tell me what I need to do to heal myself." And miracle after miracle started happening from that. And it had a lot to do with this music. He came back from looking 15 minutes later, and he said, "I don't know what's happened here. I've never seen anything like this. I'm really, really sorry." So the surgery room is booked solid for 3 weeks. He says it's never been booked more than one day in the entire history of the hospital. I said, "It's okay. Everything's for a reason. It'll be fine." He was afraid I would never survive to come back in 3 weeks. He thought he'd be dead. So I said, "It's okay." But then I started to remember one of these rehearsals where they were doing this thing called the fire mass. And I think you'll be interested. I put the link in the chat for you. And so the one thing I was remembering was one of these rehearsals where there was a woman who I was on the camera, and she was sitting beside me, and she had fourth stage cancer. And at the end of this, I could feel her energy. I could see her aura was gray. And at the end, they were doing the fire mass, the Kyrie, and it was so powerful. I could just feel these energies, and I kept sending love over to her. At the end of the rehearsal, I stepped behind her, and the conductor came walking up to her. And she said, "Mr. Mills, I'm just been diagnosed with terminal cancer, and they told me I have 2 weeks to live. And I don't know what to do." She said, "They said they can't do anything more for me." So he embraced her, and as he embraced her, the whole room filled with this golden light. And he's looking me in the eyes, and he has these very turquoise, sparkly eyes. And he said, "I always rejoice in the wholeness of being and the fullness of perfection found only in reality." And I remember this. I was driving home. That was 1984, and I'm driving home in 1997, remembering it and reliving it. And that energy, the power from the solar plexus radiated out. And then I got home, and miracle after miracle happened. And I was completely cured. When I went back 3 weeks, I was in complete remission, 1997, and have been since. So I've shared my story with many, many people and who've asked. I only share it if somebody asks for it. And so my doctor asked me if I would. And I said, sure, I'd be happy to. And then I didn't see him for 3 years. And I never heard from the people after I shared the story. And I ran into in his store, and I said, "What happened to all those people?" And he said, "Oh, they're all healed, even the one with lupus." Well, I didn't know somebody had lupus. So he said everyone had come through. So I've been sharing this from then. But the music of the spheres, what you're singing is that healing. It's a healing ray. It's the ray of light. It's the ray of love. And it is that. It is all that. And I'm just so honored to be here with you and to hear your story. I want so much. So I'm just wondering how you can, if you can share where it is that you go to when you sing those tones. Is there a place where you go to before the tones come out?
I want to thank you so much for sharing what you shared. I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so inspired by what you're sharing. It's so important that we share. It gives us validation. I'd like to be in that group. I'd like to be in the music. I want to be in the music of the spheres group. I feel that We need to create that. So it's very interesting, what you were asking, because I mean, I have sang happy birthday at certain times because it happens in our lives, right? You have to sing happy birthday. So I know what that's like. When I it's different at different times, but when I sing, this is what it feels like. I feel like I'm singing up. Like I have to go to this place up here. Like, because I know there's music here on this planet. And I mean, there probably has been a time by myself that I've sang a Michael Jackson song or something, right? So I can tell the difference. It's the frequency's here. It's right here. I have to just, it's like a switch that just, I turn up. I turn up in my frequency and vibration, and it kind of stays up from this place, and that's where it comes from. But at different times it's different. It's always depending, because if I'm working with the client, then I'll bring in what's needed at the time, or I'll bring in to open up the field or to connect the field. So it's different at different times. I'll be given certain things. Sometimes I'll literally be given a chant, a certain sonic kind of chant to sing.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. I'll put the link in the chat to the organization where he's from, and with the Starscape Singers and the KGM Foundation, so you can connect and see the music as well.
I would love that. I would love that. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I could introduce you to some of them if you're
I
ever
would love that.
one of the singers. Okay.
Very cool. I love that the doctor was like, oh, tell people about this happened. So it's like even he was surprised. That's so cool. So we'll probably have room for one more question. I know I have another question about this city of light that and what you see for the future of Sedona. But while we're seeing if there's other questions from our members, we call them collaborators, I want to share the final thing of what's going to be happening, because Shekina Rose is coming back with us to do a masterclass. And she's going to be doing this with coffee, because I'm going to be on a silent retreat this week. So it's going to be really amazing. So in 2 weeks, on the 27th, which is one of my favorite numbers, like yours is 13, this is going to be extremely special. So if you're not a member, for 144 a year, you get 72 events, including spoon bendings, all these different things. I also want to remind you, so if you're starseedacademy.org/calendar, dump your junk with Susan is this big summertime clearing, kind of like you would do at the beginning of the year, but it's a time to do it now so you can really enjoy and just get rid of anything that doesn't serve. It's going to be awesome. We also have this Awaken Your Dragon with Altair and Raquel, which is going to be an astrological deep dive into also clearing and finding your purpose. That is what it's designed to do. We also have a community connection call, and we call this like a synchronicity call, because it's free. It's a way for you guys to get introduced to the community. And we put people in groups of 3. And what's absolutely miraculous is that people always meet who they're supposed to meet. Like there's weird synchronicities happen in this vortex, this intentional spot that we have created. And it's an hour long. We rotate the time. So it's going to be Sunday from 3 to 4 PST. And Adham is going to be there, and it's absolutely magical. If you're in Sedona, we're going to do our platform launch party where we're going to be demoing the new software in LightNet. We're going to be introducing the Purpose Lab, the Addiction Lab, and the Fashion Lab. We had a Fashion Lab meeting last night. It was so fun. We had Carolyn Hauser say, oh, I want to specialize in hats for everyone, because it's a 48-hour fashion lab where in October we get together from Friday to Sunday at 4 o'clock is the fashion show. And she's like, I want to do hats. So Shekina, maybe you have some of this jewelry that gets displayed and shown off in the fashion lab. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're also starting the Starseed Academy Mastering Your Intuition program with Adham. And if you're not on our Facebook group, you can join it, learn about this. This is a members only thing, but he may be sharing it in the Facebook group. I'm not sure. And then, of course, like I said, Shekina Rose. I just wanted to also mention that when you go to the homepage here, starseedacademy.org, we have just refreshed the main picture here because in 4 weeks, we're going to be starting our research teams. Off-planet remote viewing with Alan Steinfeld, rapid intuition access with Oracle J. Coffee's going to be doing Starseed channeled art, and she's here tonight, so maybe she pops on for a moment to talk about this. A brand new program we're doing. It's almost like music, but it's with your eyes, right? So you're going to be channeling, activating artwork. Adam is running the Waking Induced Lucid Dreaming. So this is incredible research. We've had miraculous things happen in our teams. This is going to be a hybrid course. So if you're in Sedona, you can do it. And this is only 8 participants, 8 to 12 are admitted to each team. So if you're interested, learn more there. We also are going to Japan in September, and we just posted this up today. Coffee posted it. So if you're interested in going with us to Japan, we got flights for about $1,000. So it's steep, but it's a chance to go to Japan, right?
It's a long way.
It's a long way. So it's going to be really cool. It's outside of Tokyo. And it's going to be miraculous. We've got all sorts of people joining us, and I'll show you. But anyway, awaken your.
Well, yeah, and the Japanese people, it turns out, are really into contact. So the opportunity to share a contact experience with another culture, where you're making contact with another culture, and together making contact. I think it really ushers in this new sense that where I live is Earth.
Yeah, so Rupert Langdon is going to be there. There's going to be all sorts of interesting people. That Vivian Chavot is going to be there, actually getting off a cruise, and will be doing remotely. But it's going to be a very interesting contact experience. So we welcome you to check that out. So if there's no other questions, we'll close. But Shekina, I wanted to ask you, I feel like our mission with Light9 and Starseed Academy is to build a city of light, like an example city here in Sedona, where we do things a little bit differently, like we might in the future, to kind of show people, show and tell what it could be like, what our civilization could be like. Do you ever get visions or downloads about where we're trying to get to here on Earth in terms of what are we trying to create in a crystal city or a city of light?
I know that we're getting there to that, more of that place that you're speaking about. And I feel that we're still going through our individual awakening and healing and transformational process, but we are getting to that. This next space that we're getting to is the connection, with others, deepening, that connection with others. This city of light that I saw, you know that. Do you know that people here in Sedona, and there's been a lot of books written about the City of Lights in Sedona, that people come here and have no idea about the City of Lights, and they spontaneously see them, the City of Light? I don't know if, did you know that Mark Pinkham wrote Return of the Star People? He saw the City of Light. I've had people come from Japan And I've taken them on the tour to Cathedral where the Rosary is. And I had one woman spontaneously see the City of Lights.
It's because we're building it. When I first got here, I was like venturing out. I was coming from LA going, what is all this? And there was this church that did these goddess meditations once a month. And they had a Hathor one. I was like, oh, I need to go to this. And I went to that, right. And she would do these meditations and take us to the City of Light. And she would talk about what was coming in Sedona. She's like, oh yeah, it's right here. It's just coming in. Like, and she would describe these medical things where you could get healed. I mean, it was absolutely insane. So I think that we're building in our minds, as well as they're building with us, this thing, and it's going to materialize if we can dream it together. That's what we did last night with the Fashion Lab. We're like, let's co-dream this. And so we figured out what would it include, and we got all these people to envision it together.
I love
and
that.
So that's really what to happen. But tell me more. That's so cool.
Do you know Jeannie Townsend?
No.
Okay, Jeannie Townsend wrote huge, thick books in the 1980s about the City of Lights. And what you're describing, she wrote these 2 books. Jeannie Townsend, you can go online, you can get her books. It's right about here. And she would go into these cities here, living here. She would go into these cities and she would have that experience of like medical healing, like this extraordinary healing. She what you were describing, she did. She would go into, now she did this in the 1980s. She was doing the City of Lights in the 1980s, and she was initiating people into the City of Lights. I got to be privileged to be one of them. Now, Jeannie Townsend, she was like 98, and she recently crossed over. But she was completely in tune with the City of Light. It's real. And she was going into it all the time. And she wrote 2 big books on it. She said it was going to manifest here.
Oh my God, I just felt like I levitated. I didn't, I literally, it was a 1, 2, 3 lift. Wow. I wonder if she's here. That is so cool. Well, I think it's going to take all of us, you guys, to see this through, and really, and that's why we welcome you to come to Sedona. And also, Sedona is not the only City of Light that happens.
Mm-hmm.
We've thought it would be cool to really focus funding and attention on, the sacred cities, but yeah, and that's what the dream machine that we're working on, where the Fashion Lab is all a part of. It's like, let's build templates for cities of light that other cities can use, that bring more joy, more happiness, more services to the everyday person, that make us feel well and make us feel joyful. And we just prototype them one by one and then say, here, take the template, kind of like a franchise with no franchise, just like open source it all.
The more aspects of our daily existence that can be the result of a creation of love, I think the closer we get to that, to where I'm picking up a glass that was made by somebody, that's their purpose, and they loved doing it, and they poured that into it. A bottle, a pizza, whatever it is, it came from their heart, and it's filled with love. And the more of that comes into existence, I believe the closer we get to that City of Light. And that
absolutely, yes. Kind of getting away and honor and respecting and honoring the people that are making these creations and doing these creations, and patronizing these people, even the people that are the farmers market and stuff like that, like all because a lot of them, they love what they're doing, so all of it, and all, I think, like small businesses as well, and all the things. We have a lot of small businesses with incredible things here. So I say yes, honor that, honor those people, because we're bringing that energy, more into this planet.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just want to show your website one more time. Look at you, look so angelic in this. You are some sort of angelic emissary. So thanks for coming back after your NDE. Thanks for returning to bring what you're bringing and doing it with such truth and ease and grace and the feminine, divine feminine. So yeah, there's all these different cool things you can do on her site, shekinarose.com. And in closing, I wanted to thank Adham and Coffee and Anam for all the hard work we've been up to. I don't know, Coffee, if you want to come on, we have 4 minutes to talk about what you guys are doing on the 15th.
Sure.
Let's talk with
Yeah.
Coffee, you're the artistic version of music, right? We were just talking about that.
Yeah, I know. I've been here the whole time. I've been watching. It's been beautiful. Thank you so much, Shekina, for everything that you've brought here tonight. And yeah, I'll share a little bit about my class. So channeled art is something I've been doing since a very young age. And it kind of, this idea to share it with the world came about after I'd been working here with Zenka and this wonderful community. I felt like, tapping into our divine creativity, it's just something that is so, it's something that's so human. We have a birthright to do this. And if you're not able to do that, like if there's blockages that are coming up, come join my class, come join, this LightNet community, because we take these groups of 8 and we're able to just totally shift like in learning ways, and it's super fun. And we're going to channel for each other. We're going to channel art for each other. We're going to channel from our dreams. We're going to channel our shadows. So we're going to remove those kind of blocks. And then we're also going to, bring in some extraterrestrial divine energies as well. And you honestly don't even have to be good at art to join this. It can be any medium, because we just want to, untangle anything that's been suppressed inside of you to let that creation flow out of you, because it deserves to be seen. Your creation deserves to be in this world. So yeah, and that I'll put the thing in the chat here, the link. But yeah, thank you guys.
Starseedacademy.org/coffee. And Michael happened to be here and we have 2 more minutes. So yeah, we'd love to have you talk about the incredible work you're doing in your research.
So recently we have started a lab, and we are working towards finding the most efficient modality to be able to structure water, and as well as be able to get it to maintain its structure, as well as being able to find ways to imprint particular frequencies into the water. That way we can actually start to mass produce that out to the populace. In essence, we're working with different electromagnetic fields and various other modalities, testing and seeing what the difference is whenever water is exposed to sunlight and prismatic effect from different dichroic prisms. And another component of it is also working with some of the I-Taurus vortex coils, which is really interesting. So definitely a lot of movement.
Yeah, Sedona is really attracting all these people who are bringing new templates. And Michael it went from a LightNet scholar to a dream machine creator to now he's a full-blown scientist getting paid, working with Glenn Ryan to actually produce water that can heal us and can retain that in a bottle. So it's just incredible what you've done in 1 year, Michael. It's just like, okay, wow. So exciting. And you too, Adam, you've been up to some amazing things.
Yeah, well, real quick, we have a few slots left in the Waking Reduced Lucid Dreaming course that starts about in a month. So it's advanced techniques for lucid dreaming. And we've had some really amazing, not only success, but discoveries. And so if you'd like to join in that endeavor, please go ahead and do an application and we'll reach out to you and see if you're a good fit. And then the other thing we've been working on is lucid living. And that is the effect of taking what we learn as a lucid dreamer and bringing it into the waking state. And so a way to describe that is when we have a lucid dream, when we have a dream, we unwittingly use our consciousness to organize energy in such a manner that we have an experience. And when we lucid dream, we're aware we're doing that. We're using our energy to formulate we're using our consciousness to formulate the energy in our mind, and it creates a world. And then we interact with that world and we have an experience. And so the idea of lucid living is to wake up here and realize right now that you're doing the same thing. You're using your consciousness to organize the energy that's around you to have an experience. And it is very similar to dreaming. So we're working on that aspect as well, and we hope to offer that as a team this coming fall. And I really enjoyed being with you. Shekina, thank you so much for your stories and all you shared.
Yeah, thank you, Shekina. I love it. I love that your last name is Rose. I often think of roses, not only is it the highest frequency of any herb or rosemary versus anything, right? It's extremely high frequency. And it also just keeps unfolding. Mm-hmm. So when you guys drop a petal, a new one is there, and it's like the wonder keeps going. You're like, how could this be more synchronistic, more beautiful, more freeing? And so we encourage you guys to just open up like Shekina has to her life, her new life that she had. She just opened herself and got curious and just lived it truthfully. And so yeah, welcome everyone to your best life, because we're all unfolding together. And thank you, Shekina. Do you have any final words for us tonight?
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. It's really been a pleasure. And I love everything that you're sharing from your network and what you were sharing. And it's so brilliant. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for connecting with me. And yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Cool. So Shekina, we'll see you on the 27th for your members master class. And
yes,
all of you guys who want to join, jump in there. If you need a scholarship, reach out to us. Otherwise, you can get her single session, or you can do the year. And we will have an amazing Father's Day this weekend, and enjoy this weekend. And okay, we'll see you soon.
Okay.
Okay, bye.